applicants from all over the country have stood in long lines and endured a rigorous screening process, all for a shot at becoming the Apprentice. Tana is a mother of two who owns a lucrative clothing business and is one of Mary Kay's top-selling saleswomen. She rose to the top with a positive can-do attitude and sharp negotiating skills.
When I negotiate, I start small and I add and I add and I add. I want it, just a little bit bigger.
The best people are the ones that don't stop.
I was going to set the stage, set the mood. We were pumped. We were excited. We actually did a line extension called Wearable Tech.
She's a good presenter, that I can tell you.
Here's what it would be. Meatball mangia. It means eat in Italian. The meatball pizza, every ingredient was my idea from start to finish.
What you came up with yesterday was great. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Tana is a great person.
He's going to be introduced by Bruce Jenner.
When she's in leadership position, she knows how to steer.
Tana, I think you were fantastic and were a very, very good salesperson.
We would basically get them interested, send them into Tana, so we'd get the money out of them.
I have never seen anyone that comes up with more brilliant ideas.
It's called the Dazzler. We sold more shirts that were studded and rhinestoned out. We rocked the house.
I have never seen anyone that comes up with more raw enthusiasm in my life.
All you players in the hizzy, check it.
She's done a good job considering that's not her world.
Don't mess with the mom from Iowa and I'll take you down.
Every week, you were truly a star.
I think Tana is my free winner. Stand up here.
Tana came up with the ideas and did most of the selling. Tana, for the last number of weeks, you've been pretty terrific.
I instantly said I want to be the project manager because I wanted to prove that I was a leader, and I've started up many businesses and they're all successful. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a child, 9 years old.
If you had to choose one of the other two finalists, which one would you choose?
I would choose to work with Tana.
That would be Tana. Tana, I thought she was a very capable future leader.
Tana, she is dealing with the reality of being a wife, mother, and a business person.
So everybody should be fired but Tana.
Yes.
How are you going to deal with killer people in New York City?
I'm not intimidated by people, Mr. Trump. I'm just a nice person.
Please welcome Tana Goertz. Out of nowhere, you started bringing out the shizzle scoop.
I didn't need to get me a little bling bling. That is so nice. Now we be talking.
We be talking now. It just came to me, and I was working it, and I got funkified in Little John's crib. You know what I'm saying?
I would hire her just because, she's a brilliant about it. She goes for it. And what are your plans now?
I wrote and self-published a children's book called I'm Bigger Than This.
And I'm still known as the bedazzling queen.
Wait, is anybody awake? How y'all doing today? Come on! I'll be your jolt of energy if you haven't had enough coffee yet. I'm Tana Goertz, as you just saw a little bit about me there. So turn your seat so you can see me. Get comfortable. You guys, this will be the best part of your day, I promise you. You're going to learn a lot, and I'm so excited to be here today. So I do want to thank Deanne, and I want to thank Adam for bringing me here today to share with you guys what I know, what I've learned, what works, what doesn't work, and infuse you guys with some energy and enthusiasm for your futures. So you did hear on Tana. I do want to tell you a little bit about myself. I have the best job in the world, and every day I pinch myself. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful, and I'm so humbled that I get to do what I do. You may say, well, what is it that you get to do? I get to travel the entire country and some other parts of the country, Canada, I get to travel the world and inspire people to be their best. And as a professional speaker, as a business coach, as a TV personality, and all sorts of other things, but I get to meet so many amazing people. And I love people. And a lot of times people say to me, well, how do you love people? I can't stand people. I don't want to meet anybody. I don't want to extend my hand. I don't want to have a face-to-face. I don't want to look somebody in the eyes, like some of you are not looking at me in the eyes. There's a lot of that, and it's just your generation. So I will say, it's a learned behavior, but you do need to change that behavior if you want to be successful. Because one thing, you're going to learn a lot, but one thing I really want to have you understand is relationships make all of the difference. So a relationship is something that you need to nurture, something that you can't just expect expect to have happen online. Doesn't happen that way. A relationship is an eye to eye, a smile, an introduction, a greeting, and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to share with you today, you probably have never heard before. You've never learned before. As you saw in the video, I was the winner of the Street Smarts team. That means that I'm an entrepreneur, and I've never ever been anything other than an entrepreneur. So I'm my own boss. I work for me, and I love that. My season was book smarts, the really smart people, like probably 89, 90% of you all in this room today, graduated college or are going to college and going to graduate. I went to college. I was actually a senior in college. I got off course because I met a guy who wasn't the best for me and kind of took me down another road that I never finished college. That's a whole nother presentation for a whole nother group. But for you all, what you need to learn is there's book smarts where you learn it all in the books. And then there's street smarts, what I teach. The actual hardcore facts of being in the real world, living in the real world, and working in the real world. And that's what I want to share with you guys so that you can have the best of the book smarts and the street smarts. Bring them together and wow, you're going to be really successful. So all my life, I was different. I knew I was different. I was not like my friends. I was not like my neighbors. I was not like my siblings. I had high energy. I was always positive. I was always optimistic. I always loved people. I loved to sell. And my DNA was that. A very optimistic, positive, motivated, self-driven, ambitious, type A personality. If there was a goal, I jumped above the goal. If there was an idea, I created the business. If there was a thought, I turned it into a reality. And I started noticing, wait, my friends aren't opening up businesses at 9 years old. My friends aren't going to high school selling stuff. My friends aren't wanting to do garage sales every single Saturday. My friends aren't doing this. My friends aren't doing that. My friends love to go to the movies and watch TV, and I hate the movies, and I hate to watch TV. So I always thought, something's different with me. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the weirdo. And so what I did is I diluted my flavor. So I like to give the analogy of limeade. You know, limeade, if you really make homemade limeade, you get the limes and you squeeze them. You squeeze a lot of lime and you put a cup about that much of real lime juice, and then you put about that much of water. If you're like me, you throw a couple Splendas in there, stir it up, and it's really good, really tart, refreshing limeade. How many of you's mouths just tinkled a little when you thought of limeade? Raise your hand. Okay, good, half the room, me too. But what I noticed is when I was around people that weren't like me, well, it was kind of like I took that bottle of water there and I kind of diluted it. It kind of made it more water or less limeade. Because people didn't like the limeade, because the limeade, when it was all lime, was different than their limeade, which wasn't so limey. And so what I noticed is I was diluting my flavor a lot in life to fit in. And my dad used to say, okay, what's wrong with you? Like, seriously, Tana, something's wrong with you. Are you on drugs? And I used to say, you know, that's really rude that my own father thinks I'm on drugs. No, I'm not on drugs. I've never been on drugs. I don't take medicine. I don't take antidepressants to make me this way. I'm not on drugs. But my dad would drug test me. And the reason he was drug testing me is he couldn't even understand me. This is a man who produced me. I'm his offspring, right? And he thought I was on drugs. So I learned very young that even in my own family, they didn't accept me. So I diluted my flavor. And I turned down the traits that made me super different and eventually were gonna make me really successful. So I did that for about, oh gosh, I did that probably up until high school, where I finally realized, you know what, when I diluted my flavor and when I didn't act like me and when I wasn't taking opportunities and when I wasn't going out of my way to meet new people and when I wasn't doing all those things that were in my DNA, my life kind of took a turn kind of for the worse. I wasn't having the opportunities that were very unique to me. I wasn't having as much fun. I wasn't meeting the type of people that I wanted to meet. I was meeting average people, boring people. And I don't like average, boring people, period. Never have. So if you're average and you're boring, the chance of you being my friend is very, very slim. And I know that that sounds like, whoa, people don't say that anymore. But that's the hardcore reality. In my group of friends, they are successful, motivated, driven, ambitious, type A leaders like myself. Also, that's their work ethic and whatnot. They're good-hearted, they're loving, they're kind, they do anything for a stranger, they give you the shirt off their back, they're Christians, they're positive, they're loving, and all those other great traits. So it's not like I'm associating with people that aren't good. I associate myself with good people because I want to be better. So in life I started noticing like, wow, that group that I wasn't fitting in with, I would never want to fit in with. So what am I doing diluting my flavor? So I had the opportunity to go on, well, I didn't have the opportunity, I made the opportunity to go on The Apprentice. Now you all are young, so I don't know how many of you remember the show, but with the show of hands, how many of you heard or have seen an episode of The Apprentice? Wow! You probably learned it in a business school at college, correct? How many of you, so that was a lot. Where did you see it? Just hear about it, teachers, TV, somebody tell you to turn it on, or did you just watch it? Cool. Is the average age in here, what's the average age in here? 21. Okay, that's what I figured, because my son is 22, and I know what you're all thinking. There's no way, right? Oh, you guys are boring. Oh, gosh. Seriously. They said you guys were going to be fun. You guys can't imagine I have a 22-year-old, right? There it is. Hello. I got to beg him for compliments. Just kidding. It's early. You guys need to lighten up and loosen up. Well, let's get back to that. So a lot of young kids hadn't watched that show. So I'm impressed to see that a lot of you have. That's great. I wanted to go on that show for one reason and one reason only. It wasn't to be famous. It wasn't to be verified on Instagram or Twitter or any of that. I didn't care about that. I went on that show because I wanted to learn from America's business icon, Donald Trump. So I saw season 1, and they said that we're casting for season 2, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could do this. I want to do it because I want to learn from Donald Trump. So I went on the show, and out of 1 million people, they cast me and 17 other. Out of these 18 of us, I make it to the finale, and it was a life-changing experience for me to learn from Donald Trump, to have being on national television for 18 weeks really helps your career. Let me just put it that way. And so it opened up so many doors. But what I learned in that 18-week business course with Donald Trump was life-changing. And I noticed it as soon as I got to New York in Trump Tower, and that was the 17 other type A, motivated, driven, ambitious people just like me. We were all very similar. So now I was in the pool of my type. And I was swimming with the sharks like I was, and I was loving life and thriving and having so much fun just being in the element. It's kind of like when it's kind of like if you're a football player and you're in the locker room with all the other football players. That's your people, that's your tribe. Or if you're a cheerleader and you're with all the other cheerleaders, that's your group. Or if you're a singer and you're with your group, how you feel so great. But if you're with a group that you don't really feel comfortable around, you don't really have anything in common, you don't really shine, this was my opportunity to shine, and I took it and I ran with it. And this is where I learned what I'm sharing with you guys today, my tips for success for anyone at any level, at any point in your life. And if you apply these 5 tips into your life, I can almost guarantee you will be a success. I'm not just meaning money in your pockets, which we all love. I'm talking about success in your relationships, success in your personal lives, and your professional lives. So this presentation has become my trademark, because what I kept learning along the way is people saying, oh my gosh, you're different. And I'd say, well, why? It's one thing to have somebody say, you're different, and never ask why. You're different. And I'd say, why? Gosh, you have such high energy. Like, what do you take to get that? Like, where do you get that drug? Okay, it's not a drug. I was born this way. Like Lady Gaga sings the song, I was born this way. That was going to be my theme song, but my business manager wouldn't allow it. But anyways, I was born that way, high energy. So instead of me going, oh, okay, like, I'll just come in and pretend that I'm boring and normal and average, and I'll just be like most of the other speakers, just kind of quiet and not really loud and obnoxious and energetic and I'm positive and using my hands and just, you know, in your face, like, I want you to learn this is so exciting. I used to kind of think, well, maybe I'll not be so energetic. Or you know, they'll say something else like, you just love people so much. Like, why do you care about her? You never even met her before. Like, why do you care? Like I said, I want to have lunch with all the interns today. And somebody that I was talking to today said, why? Like, wait, why would you want to have lunch with 20, 21, 22-year-olds? And I'm like, actually, that's true. That's a great question that a lot of people would ask because the COO wants to take me to lunch. And I could go to a really, really nice lunch where everything's taken care of, everything's paid for. I don't have to worry about what's on the menu and have really, really good food. But it's actually because I love people. And I'm looking forward to who I'm going to meet at the lunch here right after I speak. So that's why I'm going to have lunch with you guys today. Because I may be here in life in the sense of experience or success or whatever you may see me up here as, and you guys may be here just getting started, but guess what? We're both people and we're all very much alike, and that's just what I love to do. So that's why I'm going to do it. And disregard that the world says that's kind of stupid or strange. Like, you're kind of weird. It doesn't really matter what they think because it's what I think. So I wanted to share with you a few examples of a few things, and then I'd love to roll that video, Deanne, so that they can see. Actually, let's roll that video right now. I'm going to have you guys watch this video really quick of how I got cast on The Apprentice. I want to fill you in on just a few things about this. But as you watch this video, please keep in mind, nothing was staged, nothing was scripted, and nobody knew I was coming. Okay? Thanks.
We're just going to have to watch that screen.
This screen, yeah, I'll get out of the way.
Building suspense right now.
Oh, yes, the suspense. While it's warming up. Oh, it's already going.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just saying, while it's warming up, this is the video that I made to get cast on the show, or to try to get cast on the show, before I knew a million people tried to do the same thing.
So, who's going to be the next apprentice?
You're looking at her, baby. There are a million Mary-Kate consultants in the United States, and no one does it like I do it. While people are thinking about working, I'm working. I'm going into a man's world. I'm going to try and sell them lip glosses and fingernail polishes. This is my challenge that I made, and I decided I'm going to go out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to show you what I can do. I got a hand cream. What woman wouldn't want her hands moisturized? You got special someone in your life that you want to take care of? You got a mother that you want to give something for? It doesn't matter how far away she is. She gave you birth, man. I want you to buy this from me. There's no reason why you shouldn't. Do you agree with me? You want to go into your office and seal this deal?
Now how that was you.
Well, let's go to your cubicle. Let's go to your cubicle.
No, I'll take all that. I'll take it.
Do you want to know what I think about men that wear pink? Confidence in their masculinity. You could bring this home tonight and say, you know what, honey? Some sweet, cute little thing who was much heavier than you came in, and I just saw this and thought of you.
I don't have any cash. I got like $10 for lunch.
Okay, I take chips.
I have a checkbook.
I won't take no for an answer. I'm not leaving until somebody buys. I've actually had men offer me positions of covers. I'll bet you $10. I'll bet you $10.
That guy right
That
there?
man what? You want
Yeah,
that?
I bet you $5.
Don't run from me. I'm nice, I'm sweet, I don't bite, I smell good. Tana, I'm Tana. Nice to meet you. I'm very catchy.
I don't have any cash.
This is a challenge that I have to move all these products by the end of the day. Is there a product here that we can commit you to purchasing?
I can tell you this. This will probably be the product.
That's okay. I just want a commitment out of you.
Okay.
I'd like to bring Freddie in here and let him know that I did close the deal, that he owes me $5 Two job offers. Oh yeah. Let's just start.
I would love to buy one again.
You have a credit card? I can run your credit card number here. Can you call your woman right now and ask her what she brought at home?
Do you use that again? No.
Don't say that. You're giving her a reason to say no. Tell her I'm thinking about you.
Because I just thought about you. Because she just came up and asked me if I want to buy something. If you want something, buy it.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate your business. Anytime. Okay, can I get your business card? I'll call you every holiday. Anyone in particular you can send me to? I like the #1 salesman always. You're a big spender. You take good care of your wife. How do you make your life easy? You just give me 30 seconds. You got it, babe. Okay. #1 selling products. I'm selling gifts for Mother's Day. Get a head start on it or any special occasion. I've got an incredible nail bag, which is the reason why my nails look so good. You take good care of your nails with a hand cream, which is our #1 selling product. This is our satin hand set, $28, and I have complimentary gift cards. So all you gotta do is sign it, love Sean, I love you. This is Mary Kay. I want to sell a product. You tell me your price, and I've got something in here that's
Actually, one of my best friends' wife sells her again.
Yeah, she don't get a gift wrap. You're not paying for the packaging.
Not at all.
You're not paying for the phone. You're not paying for the card, and you can help me out.
Want a job here?
You know what? I was at Mercedes. They offered me a job, and I was at Toyota, and they offered me a job.
You good. I
Thank
give you
you.
that.
You give me that much? You got a job right here. So if you buy this here, you don't have to store it till Mother's Day. Seriously, put it in the mail with a card that says, I love you. Thinking of you. What's your name? Okay, thinking of you, Mom, I love you. $7.50. Thank you. You've got mine? Is that why you're buying? Yeah. I love it. What made you buy?
What made me buy?
Yes.
Transfer of enthusiasm from one person to another. She's enthusiastic, and I appreciate that.
You think you'd be good on The Apprentice?
I think she'd be awesome.
You have to be persistent. They tell you no. You have to come up with a reason. You have to make it easy for them to spend their money. It's not easy for them to get in their wallet and give me money when they're not planning on buying from me that day. Half these men don't have any money in their wallets, and they don't get. There were men that gave me their lunch and dinner money to buy this product.
She said, let me borrow 10 bucks right now.
It won't interfere your lunch. This money.
No, lunch is free.
Oh, good. What time is lunch? I'll stick around. And there's a special gift. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for your time. Mary Kay, it's an unprecedented product. We're going to come back tomorrow. We have cash. What's your office? We're not on the clock till we get to the basketball. I have the cars. They love the fact that I have the cars. We got exfoliants. We got shaving cream. We got it all.
Well, you made your goal for today.
I always meet my goal for the day. It was tough.
Nothing's full of money.
All the day's work. Look at signed, sealed, delivered.
And you got 4 job offers.
4 job offers and a regular. Once again, inform them of every holiday.
And that's just the beginning, right?
It's just the beginning.
What time did you get up this morning?
I was up at 6:12. I'm ready to go. Hey, how you doing today? Do you happen to have a need for a Mother's Day gift? You have a mother? My Japanese isn't too good. Where's your wallet? Wallet? Domo. Domo. Arigato. Have a good one. Thank you.
I believe I could do anything.
You know, you say, can you get to Mars today? I'd be like, I'll try. Could you hold my basket for a second? Take that around. I will give you $5. They're going to tell me to get out of their office. They're going to ask me, where did I come from? Who asked you still pumps me up. Still to this day, we'll let that go up, and this is where I put my stuff, because there's a lot of stuff in there. I can't forget to tell you guys. Did you like the video? Yeah. Okay, cool. Glad. Well, it changed my life forever. Apparently, Donald Trump and Mark Burnett liked it too. So they saw the video. This was back when VHS was a thing where you actually, VHS is something that you put into a, there we go. There's the laugh. What have we been speaking for 25 minutes? That's what I've been waiting for, you guys. VHS, you stick it in a machine and they would watch it. It wasn't digital back in the day, so I actually had to trust that somebody was going to put it in the machine, see something that they like, tell Mark Burnett, he'll tell Donald Trump, and the minute it went in, Burnett goes, find me that girl. So they called me up. They said, hey, we want to meet you. We had never seen that before, and let me tell you a little bit about that. So because my husband's a meteorologist here in Channel 8, so everybody knows us in the town. So I didn't want to go into a car dealership here in Iowa and have people go, oh, you're Curtis's wife, I'll just buy from you, because they want a personal forecast or something. So I went to LA to my sisters. We had it all arranged. Hey, listen, I'm going to come to LA. I'm going to make a Mary Kay basket. I'm going to fill it with $500 worth of products. I want to know, would you follow me around with the video camera and videotape me? Because I want to get on The Apprentice. And she's like, oh gosh, yes. Love to have you. Come on out. We'll do this. Okay? So I go on out, spend the night. I wake up and I'm sicker than a dog. So that was me with strep throat, shaking with the fever, sick. So if you can kind of gauge the way I was in that video, I know it was probably low energy for a lot of you, but that was me functioning on about a 3 of my 10, on a scale from 1 to 10. That was my 3, that was sick. And thank goodness they said, wow, we like that. We are interested and we're intrigued by you. So I got cast, the rest is sort of history. But what I want to share with you, and also I want to let you know about my sister. So my sister Mara, we go to the first car dealership and it was Mercedes because I want to shoot for the top, right? So I want the big heavy hitters because as soon as I sell my basket, the sooner we got to quit for the day and go have a nice sushi lunch. So I take my basket and we go into Mercedes, and all of the dealers, like all of the salesmen, were more interested in what was in my basket and what I was doing, that they didn't care about selling cars. And so the GM was like, hey, like you gotta quit, like quit paying attention to her, go sell some cars. Hey, what are you doing in this girl's basket? Like, go sell some cars. So the manager said, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to ask you to leave. You're kind of causing a distraction, and you're gonna need to go. My sister was videotaping me. She panicked, she freaked, she went crazy, and she was like, oh my gosh, that was the most embarrassing thing. I can't even believe it. Like, they kicked you out. Tana, you're such an embarrassment. They're embarrassed. Do you realize they're laughing at you? And they were. I mean, because it was a really windy day and all my purple fluff that was in the basket was kind of blowing out. You know, I had a trail, and they were laughing at me. And they were making fun of me. And they were wondering, what is she doing here? And that poor sorry sucker has to sell this stuff probably to put food on the table or shoes on her feet. Like, they felt sorry for me. But when I got kicked out, my sister was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm out. I'm like, no. You're not out yet. I don't even have my basket sold. Like, I need you. And at that very moment is when I realized in life, there are leaders like me who don't care. We are not scripted, we're not staged, we're not rehearsed, and we don't care whether you like me or not. If this is my passion and this is my purpose, I'm getting her done. Versus my sister Mara, who she was embarrassed. She was a follower. She cared what people thought about her. She didn't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. She wanted to fit in and not be a standout. And that's when I said, never, ever, ever will any of my audiences not know the difference between being that and what that gets you, which is a very boring, average life. Yes, you can all go out and be successful. Yes, your time at REG, if you want to be average and be my sister Mara, will be great. Well, actually, your time at REG, if you want to be like my sister, will be what it is. A summer internship, or an internship, or a job. But if you want to take on your opportunity to be an intern at REG, an amazing company that takes really good care of their employees and their staff, and the education that they'll provide you, and the support that they'll provide you, and the investment that they will give you can be great if you apply the tips that I'm going to teach you in getting the most out of this experience. And not just REG, this is the beginning for a lot of you. You have your whole rest of your lives. The future is so bright. I won't say you gotta wear shades, but maybe I will. Y'all are too young for that song, but you know what I mean? And so you could be like Mara, you could be like me. And let me tell you what, being like me, the opportunities are endless. And being like me, you'll have so much fun. And if you want to act like, sort of follow down the path that I've done, you'll have great relationships here. And you may get mentored by by the senior staff. That would be such a blessing. If you look at everything from an attitude of gratitude, you just watch your life blossom. But what I learned immediately after getting off the show, like I hadn't even left New York yet, and everybody kept saying, so hey, what was the name of that gal who won your season? You were the runner-up, but what was the name of that gal? And I went, oh, interesting. Interesting. The first female apprentice, and people don't know her name. That's odd. To me, that's really odd. But when I sat back and went, is it that odd? She did wait until the very last person to be project manager. She never spoke. She fit in. She blended in. She was average. Trump never talked to her. I'm seeing a lot of common denominators here, folks. Everybody, literally to this day, says, and it's been 12 years, what was the name of that gal? So I was in New York, May the 19th, 2005, when we did the live finale. And I said, this is going to be part of my presentations for the rest of my life. So I immediately went out and I got, I had a $100 bill and I had somebody make me this ring. How many of you noticed this ring on my finger? Well, we probably not as many as usual, but I usually, before I speak, I mingle with the people, get to talk with y'all like half an hour before the speech. And since I am Italian and I use my hands a lot, 90% of the room will say they've noticed this ring, this $100 bill that's in a ring. But if you did notice it, raise your hand. Wow, okay, cool, thank you. Half of you noticed this ring. So this is what I used to do in my presentations. I don't do it anymore because some knucklehead put it out on the internet, and now the joke is up, but the shtick is up. So what I would do is I'd go out to an audience, and I speak usually between 500 and 1,000 people, and so I would go out into the audience, and we're at this part in the speech where I'll say, now hey, you guys, I'm sure a lot of you noticed that I've got a $100 ring, $100 bill made into a ring, and I'm willing to give it to anyone in here today if you can tell me the name of the first female apprentice. And I throw it out to the audience, and I sit there and I think, oh God, I hope that nobody does it because it's really, really powerful when they don't have it. But hey, I'm willing to give it away. If somebody knows her name, maybe things have changed, maybe people have become more aware of her, doubt it, but let's just take a chance. Crickets, crickets, crickets. And I'm like, I'll just, one more time, just because it's really good emphasis. So nobody in here knows the name, and I go through it all over, and then I'm like, no, and I'm like, oh cool, I get to keep my ring. And then I never say her name. And then I share the analogy is, she won, but nobody knows her. And she never got another job from that opportunity, and I was the runner-up. And I got home and I had 77 job offers. The first one was a commercial for the Bedazzler, which is a whole other story for another presentation. But my point was, nobody likes average. Nobody remembers average. So the first tip for success for anyone at any level, at any stage in their life, is to go out and be unforgettable. What is unforgettable? It's what I just shared with you about me. Be who you were meant to be. And a lot of people go, oh, well, that's great. You knew you had high energy, and you knew you were ambitious, and that you were driven, and you were self-motivated, and you were the second of 5 in an Italian family, and you were this, and you were, no. I had to learn what made me unforgettable from the average other speakers in the world, or the average other business coaches in the world, or the average other mothers, or the average other entrepreneurs. So people go, well, I don't know it. what my unforgettable traits are, and I said, great point. I have a suggestion. So my suggestion to all of you would be to go home and ask your mother or your father, what makes me unforgettable? And then they may say a few things that are silly or stupid or whatever, and you're like, hey, you know, like, hey, you're the biggest pain I've ever met, you know, ha, funny. No, seriously, what makes me unforgettable to you? Well, your heart, your kindness, gosh, your compassion for the elderly, your love for veterans. You know, I just love how you know, want to, whatever, you know, you'll hear it. Whatever it is, the first 2 things that come out of your mother or your father or someone that you love a lot and admire, jot them down. Jot them down. Those are your unforgettable traits that I want you to put out of, like a neon sign that says open. I want that to be you, okay? So I didn't really know what mine were because I had never asked the question. But when I kept noticing the 77 job calls, opportunities, hey Tana, you know, we just loved your energy on The Apprentice and we were wondering if we could hire you to come in and energy. Hey Tana, you know, we're the owners of the Dazzler company and we really loved your passion. You were super energetic and enthusiastic. Energy. Man, I was wondering if you'd like to open up a new Caribou coffee shop. This was before Caribou even existed. And we pay you a lot of money to open up a coffee shop in Minneapolis. It's going to be called Caribou Coffee. We'd like you to be the blah, 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 sales. Oh, hey, what we noticed is sales. So energy, sales, people. Energy, sales, people kept being what I was hearing people say were my unforgettable traits. So, with that, would it make sense for me to walk in here and be all demure and, you know, be that speaker? Sit here. Hello, everybody. So good that you came. So happy for your futures. Let's just point up the PowerPoint and it'll do my speech for me. And I just sit here and demure and sweet. Let you guys think, gosh, I can see how she could be a world traveler, very popular speaker, successful business coach. I could see how Mark Burnett would have cast her. Donald Trump loves her. And I could just see all the off. Is that a little off? Doesn't jive with what people say they like, why people want to hire me, right? So it would kill me to come in here and be that, because that's not who I am. But that's what people do every day. They pretend to be something that they're not. So I say, figure out what makes you unforgettable. Put it in neon signs and shine it, baby. Shine the light. So it was so interesting because after I decided to do this and after my ring thing started working and I realized, you know, people don't remember boring people. And I'm gonna have lunch, like I said, with you guys. And I might be able to say 2 of your names by the time it's all over and done with, because I know the statistics are that 2 of you in here are confident enough to be yourself and not worry about what other people are thinking and to come up and say hello or whatever you're gonna do or whatever I choose to do. And you're confident enough in yourself that you aren't gonna be worried about who's gonna be judging you or watching you or any of that. 2, out of room of 53. About 2 of you. If we're lucky. And I already see one person in the room that I can guarantee you is gonna be one of those people. It's a guy, I'll give you that. There's one person I already know I will meet. One person in this room of 53. I won't tell you who he is till later. Okay, so anyways, this was really cool. So this is a product called Fiend. And I had done an event and I had won it. And the camera came on my face and they were like, you know, how did you do it and whatever. And I did this interview and I was just very passionate and excited about winning this thing. Well, this company, the CEO was watching the video, the interview, and he went, oh my gosh, like find me that lady. And so they called me and they want to do work with me and I'm like, okay, well, what is it? And so what Bean is it's an energy, it's a powder that you put into anything that you drink that's pure caffeine. So it's kind of like drinking a Red Bull or drinking a cup of coffee or drinking a Coke or whatever. And it's called Fiend. You put it in a thing, no calories, no carbs, no sugar. So they thought if they could use me as the spokesperson and pretend that Tana takes Fiend, that's how you get Tana's energy. Gosh, wouldn't that be a win? So I'm like, of course. I could get down with that because one, I'm looking for no carbs, no calories, no sugar. And if something can replace my cup of coffee with my French vanilla cream, which is about that much every single day, they're gonna save me about 150 calories, and hello, I wanna look good, so sign me up for it. So I became the spokesperson for Fiend because they go, energy, that's my gal. If I was boring, there would have been no Fiend. Okay, that's example number one. I got about 100, but I'm only gonna give you a few. So now that I'm the runner-up on The Apprentice, well actually it's not the bid, I was a runner-up. Most people, when you get fired on The Apprentice, you go on the Today Show. Actually, everybody does. So at this stage of the game, I think there was 103 contestants who had that chance. You get fired, you go on the Today Show and you talk about, I got fired, or dang it, you know, whatever, or bitter, or whatever it is that you are. Well, so I, being a smart entrepreneur, I went, wow, that's kind of interesting. Wait, I'm gonna go on the Today Show, regardless if I win this thing or not, and I believe I'm gonna win this thing, because I did believe I was gonna win this thing. I am not gonna go on the Today Show with 41 million people watching me and not have a product in hand, because I am a smart person. I'm an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are always looking for an opportunity. So what did I do? I said, well, if I were to do something and have a product, what would I want to pitch on the Today Show? And I thought, well, I do like my entrepreneur t-shirt that says entrepreneur on the front, 24/7, 365. That's cute, but t-shirt, you know, that's not really me. Let's go back to what makes me different. I love to sell, I love people, and I have high energy. Okay, I think I can make two of those work. Well, I thought, well, I do love people, and what I've learned is that if you don't love yourself, the chances that your mom or your dad don't love themselves is very high because you learn confidence at home. So I started thinking, how could I really make a difference in not only a child's life, but a mother and a father's life, or a caretaker? In a lot of situations, grandparents are raising children. And I thought, well, I do love people and I do want to help people. And I think if I were to write a children's book, I could take on 32 pages. So I decided I'm going to write a book about my life tale, which was I tried to pretend to be somebody that I wasn't and how that didn't really work for me. And I kind of came up with this concept of kind of like Halloween. You know, we put on Halloween costumes, and I could put on a costume and be Cindy Crawford for a day and pretend I'm a model, but I'm really not. Or, you know how boys pretend to be Batman or Superman and all that, and you put on the cape and you act like you're a superhero, and you're really not. It's kind of like that. What I used to do when I tried to fit in is I felt like I put on this costume. I was really always a shark, you know? Put on this goldfish costume and kind of just tried to fit in, because who doesn't love a goldfish? Go about my day just sort of being normal and average and boring and whatnot, and not kind of standing out, because a lot of people don't like sharks. They all love a goldfish. And so I decided that that would be the concept of this book. Self-help, the theme of being something that you're not. And mom and dads would read it and kind of go, oh, that makes a heck of a lot of sense. The kids would get it and this would be great, but my entrepreneurial spirit said, I'm not missing that opportunity. So I go on the Today Show with Matt Lauer and Katie Couric, and I, you know, at the very end, they said, what are you doing now? I said, I'm writing my children's book. Kind of like what I said to Conan O'Brien. Did you all see that? What are you doing next? I self-published and wrote a children's book. Boom, well, that's kind of was nice too. Got to make all those sales. But I only share that story with you because Donald Trump took me in his office once and said, hey, just wanted to let you know you were really bright. I said, well, I knew that, but thanks. What makes you say that? And he goes, well, 100 other Apprentice alumni went on the Today Show, but nobody went with a product in hand. And I went, wow, you're right. How stupid were they? Like, seriously? We're apprentice people. We're supposed to be the best of the best. We're supposed to be bright. We're supposed to be business people. How could you not think of that? Well, they hadn't, because nobody had ever done it before. So if history repeats itself and nobody had ever done that before, then nobody was going to do it. It's kind of like if there's interns and nobody goes up to the CEO's office and says, hello, I'm Tana. I'm a summer intern, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity. Whoa, nobody's ever done that before. Wow, that may make sense. Oh, I wonder if Dan would remember you. Yeah, I'm gonna guess he would. But Nobody does that because that's kind of different. So I love to leave you with this analogy with the tip number 1. How many of you in this room love the color beige? Cool, you're no different than any of my other audiences. Nobody likes beige, right? So I always like to say, to drive this point home, think of don't be beige. So anytime you like catch yourself going, oh, that was so bad, I should have never done that. Like Tana would kill me if she knew I missed that opportunity. Think of beige. And I always like to say, don't be beige, because nobody likes beige, right? And what is beige? Beige is boring. Anybody yell out if there's another attribute of beige? Beige is boring. Beige is average. Bland, thank you. I was just gonna say bland. Beige is beige, right? Beige is like, beige is bad. Like, who likes beige? And so I always like my audiences to hashtag don't be beige, just to kind of remind yourself you never want to be beige. And so this kind of fits in now that we're talking about colors. I always like to say to my audiences also, don't go into a meeting or into a new situation looking like everybody else. And so really, when I walked into this room, typically if you guys were adults, 90% of you would have on a dark coat, a navy blazer, a dark coat, or the baby blue that is sort of REG's, uniform shirt. 90%, I was just here at their training, 95% of them all looked the same, right? Because it's kind of like when you grow up, you're supposed to look like everybody. You're supposed to kind of act like everybody. You're supposed to be beige. Beige? No. So the first person that my eye went to was you, because you are in neon green. And that is something I really like and admire. Give them a round of applause for where you are. What I say that is, if there is an opportunity for me to do one thing, or I need someone, or whatever, I'm going him, because my eye goes right to him. Second person was you, miss, in the red. My eye went immediately to you as the female and him as the male. Bottoms down, hands down. Now that doesn't mean you look like heck and you were terrible, but I do love the Hawkeyes. My son just graduated from there. Yes, hello. And so we fit in. So when I was putting on my clothes today, yes, I have black. I have about a lot of clothes, doesn't matter. That many articles of black, because I can't stand black. Why? Because everybody wears black. But nobody remembers the beige colors, and the black, and the whites, and the grays. But we do remember turquoise, and we do remember royal blue, and we do remember red, and we do remember purple for a guy. I saw somebody else. I felt like it was, no, it wasn't. Those are the only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, my eyes went to 5 of you. Out of a group of 53. Just put it in the back of the head. Okay, we have to move, and then this is another thing, but you guys probably don't care about this yet. So every presentation that I go to, I'll get a whole stack of business cards. And then I change out my purse, and then maybe a week later, I'm like, okay, Denise, don't know. Marlo, Margaret, wait, what? Look at this, look at this. Who are these people? George, Mary, you guys notice something about all this? What do you notice? Hello, these are business cards. This is your calling card. I'm an entrepreneur. I need say a graphic designer. Which one is in here? I'm not calling a white business card. So I've had 2 bosses in my life. Well, let's just go back to one boss. Now, that doesn't matter. I've had 2 opportunities in my life that I have not created my own business card. They've both been white. I don't even really like to hand them out, to be quite honest with you. So my business card is right here, okay? Take a look at the back of that, pass it around. Is that really something that an almost 50-year-old woman would have? I mean, if you think about it, it's the little, what's that thing called? Who's smart in this room? That little thing that's kind of the orange thing on the back. There it is, say it how? Speech bubble. The speech bubble, okay, I don't know what that's called. But I thought, I want this, and my business manager who's younger is like that. With all my ways to connect with me, that's really not something that an almost 50-year-old woman would really have on a business card, but guess what, that card works. The reason why it works is not only because of that cute speech bubble, is because it's black, and also if you are a public figure or you are someone out in the public that is looking for work, they will remember you if you have your face on your business card. Now that may or may not be of valuable information to you, but start noticing when you get business cards, you won't remember, and I won't do business with that because that didn't stand out. And I want to hire somebody that stands out. So that's the business card story. Okay, we need to move on. Tip number 2 is being persistent. What is that? Simple. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Now this is fun for you guys because people don't know what they want. It's not just that you're young and you don't know, because there's adults walking the face of the earth and they don't know what they want. So I always say, what do you want? If I were to walk to every one of your tables, which I'm not going to, so you don't have to have that fear in your eye that I just saw. I just saw fear and terror. I'm not going to do that. But if I were to say, what do you want? Could you even answer? Most people can't. Most adults can't. So when you say, what would you want, Tana? More audiences. I want to meet more people. I want to touch more people's lives. I want to teach you what I've learned so you don't have to make the same mistakes. Or teach you what I've learned so you can get there faster. Share with you what works, what doesn't work. But what I've learned is people don't know what they want. So being persistent is knowing what you want and asking for it. So we're gonna do a little testing. Let me back up. What I know in life is that people genuinely will help you if you ask for the help. Do you guys believe that? Okay, so not that the world is a bad place, because it's not. I actually think the world is an amazing place, and the world is our oyster. But in life, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, it's all relational. It's all relationships. If I know you, I want to help you. If I know what you want and I can give it to you, I'm going to give it to you. So, one, people do want to help you, but you have to know what you want. So we're going to do a test. That's what we'll call this. I am going to issue you guys, I'm going to say what I want. And I will tell you, out of 53 people in this room, I will be able to tell you how many of you will do it. Here's what I want. So you don't need to write anything down because I'll give you guys all one of these at the very end. And this is, I give you this for two reasons. One, so you can be part of the test. And two, if you have a quick question for me, because I'm very busy, I don't like to email because I'm always on the road or on an airplane or on stage. This has got my business card. This is my business card one of the times I could actually design my own card. On here is my cell phone. A text would be better than an email, because I'm not going to get back to an email probably. But a text I would. Hey, Tana, got a quick question. Met you at REG. I'm one of the summer interns. How do I do this? Or how do I get rid of a friend? Tip number 5, you were talking about being a problem solver. I need a quick help. I'll give you an answer. So the reason why I asked you to take one of these is one, so you've got me as a source. I'm not going to be your new best friend. Let's just put it that way, okay? Let's be honest about that. But you can reach out to me if you have a couple quick questions. I'm more than happy to help. But so that you can do the test. And why don't we start here and pass them along to table 2. The test is, what I'm asking for you all to do is, I'd like for you to follow me either on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, and all of the sources are on this card. I'd like for you to send a tweet about meeting me, what you thought of me, my presentation, and hashtag speaker, or hashtag don't be beige, okay? So, had I said originally, it'd be really cool if you guys took a business card. I'd love to connect with you all. 2, and remember I told you there's that one guy in this room that I know is unforgettable, and I'll probably meet one more. 2 of the 53 would probably take that extra step to do that. Now that I have asked for it, 50 of the 53 will do it. However, had I said at any point in time, I'd love it if you'd connect and follow with me, at any point in time, 25 of you would do it. I'm going to ask that you would connect with me in one of those sources, either Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, before we all have lunch, but not during my presentation. Now 50 of the 53 of you will do it. Okay? The reason I bring that up to you guys is it's not really because I'm looking for another follower, or not really because I need your seal of approval to get my next speech. But I do appreciate that. I'm not going to lie. I would appreciate the seal of approval. I would appreciate any feedback. I would appreciate if you take a picture, that we include the photos, anything. But there is a reason. And it's because I want to prove to you guys that people will actually do what you want them to do if they know what you want them to do. So you need to come to grips with what is it that you really want. If you just want a summer internship, God bless you. That's better than being, playing video games or partying every night out with your friends because you don't have anywhere to go in the morning, or spending money at the mall. That's a great thing. But if you want more, it's here for you. It's just a matter of where you're going to take it. Tip number 3 of the tips for success is be straightforward. Say what you mean and mean what you say. That one I share with you for more of your personal life. If you're saying things that you don't mean, stop it. Because it doesn't do you any good. I'll give you an analogy. I had a guy the other day say, man, I just beaten myself up. I feel so terrible about myself. And I looked at him and I said, why? You're so successful, you've got it all together, you've got a wonderful family. Like, I look at you and I think you look like you have it all put together. Like, why are you beating yourself up? And he's like, I really don't know. I'd like to work with you to kind of figure this out. Well, so I started coaching this man, and within like the first hour, I realized this is a guy who's saying stuff he never means. Like, he'll tell his coworkers that he doesn't like the CEO, but that's a lie. Or he'll tell his wife, I'll be home for dinner, but because he's working a lot and he's wrapped up at work, he never makes it home. Or he'll tell his kids, I'm gonna be at the baseball game, but he never makes the baseball game. So what I started noticing with this gentleman is, dude, like, you're saying stuff that you have no intention of ever following through with. You aren't being, you're not following through with your word. So your word is not impeccable. People can't trust you. So what that's actually doing is robbing you of the success of saying, well, my life is all tightened up and bottom, we're all buckled up and tightened up and I'm good. So like, a lot of you right now, you're young. You probably made obligations last weekend. Maybe it's to move your aunt. You didn't come through. Maybe it was to help your mom or your dad, or to plant the flowers your mother wanted, or this or that, and you didn't do it. So now guess what? You robbed yourself of the accountability of saying, man, I followed through with what I did and I feel good about that. So start tightening up and buttoning up your life. And when you start to realize, like, when you say something, mean it. For example, I told Deanne and Adam that I would speak here today for you guys. Little did I know that one of my biggest clients wanted me in California on the same day. But what would you guys, there's 53 of you in here, what would you guys have thought of me? Say that a week ago, they sent you the itinerary. Oh, hey, guess what? Monday at 11, you're gonna have Tana Goertz, who was on The Apprentice, and she ran Donald Trump's campaign, and she's now a consultant for REG, and she's really excited to be out here and talk to you guys about, changing your lives for the better. And what if you'd learned I was coming? And they knew I was coming, and all the other staff knew I was coming. But I decided to cash in on you guys and go take a big paying client, California, and say, hey, guess what? It's been real, it's been fun, but ain't gonna happen. Now I look like the loser. Now I have ruined my reputation here. And yeah, you may all be 20, 21, 22, and people may think, well, who cares? Like, what are they gonna do for you? It matters. Because every single one of you is going to go home and you're gonna tell your mom or your dad, who I guarantee you knows my husband or knows of me, and you are going to tell them, man, Tana was supposed to come and speak, and yeah, we had some other presenter, and that presenter sat in the stool, put up the PowerPoint. Tana didn't make it in, man. That's kind of crazy. Or you could say, man, we had Tana Goertz, her husband, you probably mom, dad, you probably watch him on Channel 8, the chief meteorologist. His wife came in. It's kind of cool to put a face with the, face with the other part of them, tips that could help us along the way, and maybe we don't have to make the same mistakes. And it was kind of nice. I would have missed all of that if I decided to not be impeccable with my word and not honor my commitment. So it's really just about honoring your commitment. Tip number 4 is being a mover-honor. This one I love to share with younger generations because there's a lot to be told and learned in this one. Being a mover-honor means don't hang on to the past. A lot of times people like to hang on to the past. Like, let's just say you were the quarterback of your football team and you're hanging on to that, and that is fabulous. Like, God bless you. Everybody loves the quarterback of the football team, I'm not gonna lie. But that's who you were. You know, like I was on The Apprentice, and that's wonderful, and I'll never take that away, and that literally opened up millions of doors for me, and I'm forever grateful. But I'm more than that. I've moved on from that. That was so 12 years ago. And then yes, I ran Donald Trump's campaign, and I was, you know, all that and whatever, and that's wonderful. But like that was a year ago. So what's next for you? So being a mover-honor is good for those that are stuck in the past. And I share that so that you don't get stuck there either because that was who you were, but now you're not. You kind of don't know where you fit in. But I also share that with you so you realize that if you're hanging around people who aren't good for you, and it's like the same playgrounds and the same playmates, like look for new friends. Like this is a group that maybe y'all would have never met. Like-minded individuals. You're spending your summer in a productive, professional way. That would be something very intriguing to me if I was in your situation. Like, I want to know, like, hey, who are you? That's so cool that you have the same mindset as me. And a lot of times we hang around people, and I've had to learn this the hard way, that aren't good for us, and they're not building you up. And so a lot of times I've learned, and I read a lot of books on this, that we are the sum of the 5 people we hang around the most. So for example, if you're hanging around a guy who's not good for you, like I did before, and I told you that's another presentation for the ladies. Okay, that's one, bringing you down. And then you got another best friend, and she's jealous of you, bringing you down. And then you got somebody else who's not super great. And then you got that one friend that's like you and likes to read self-help books, so she's positive. So we've got 3 going down, 1 going up, and then you got a sibling that's sort of you know, they don't add or they don't distract. Well, so you've got 1 of 4 positive forces in your life. You're going down. So if you want to hang around 5 people that are striving to be better, wanting to do more, living a life of, you know, productivity and professionalism and poise and just being polished, then you're going up the success curve. And in my life, when I was with someone who was a negative force, he was bringing me down. And I was going up, but because I wanted to help him, I was trying to bring him up. But do you see where I was going? Down. So it never works out. So in the moving on stage tip, I like to just say, take inventory of your life and realize who are the 5 people you're associating yourself with the most. Make sure that they're positive. Ladies, if they're not, and you've got a boyfriend, and also this goes for you guys, if you've got a girlfriend who's not good or negative or depressed and always needing help, and you're always trying to bring that person up, like, whoa, they're stealing from your success curve, really. And I know it's really, really hard because a lot of women, we want to fix people, but guess what? You got to take care of worrying about fixing yourself first. So the moving on stage is just a great assessment for maybe the stage of life that you're at. But a lot of times when you're a little bit older, you realize you're sort of stuck in the past. And then the last tip is being a being a problem solver. And this will be really helpful for you guys while you're here at REG. Being a problem solver it's a person who fixes problems and fixes them fast. So you have the opportunity in your roles here as a summer intern that you can help be of assistance to whoever your superior is, or who your manager may be, or the person that you report to or you're being mentored by. Offer your assistance, help. A problem solver is a person who takes, like, oh, let me help you with that. Takes from your burdens rather than, there's more. Dump, 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 dump. And then we know those people, and it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to be away from that person because they're dumping more on your plate rather than taking off. But what I have witnessed in my years being a businesswoman is the people who are the problem solvers are the people who get promotions, who get raises, and who get recognition. They are the leaders of the new businesses, the new companies. If Dan, the CEO, were to say, hey, I need 2 interns this summer who were 100% dedicated, gave it their all, who were problem solvers, who helped out, and all the managers put down an assessment, you want to make sure your name is on that list. Because at the end of the day, folks, what you have right now in front of you, not just here at REG, but in your lives, is a huge opportunity to shine your light and be who you were meant to be, and bring out all of your talents rather than hiding them, like I've done in my past. Just let it shine. You won't believe how great your life will be and the opportunities that will come your way. I wanted to share with you, because I think this is very, very important, is in tip number 2, be persistent, ask for what you want, know what you want. I was in a group of speaking to Wells Fargo, and there was about 1,500 people in the audience. And I was talking about, maybe you don't know what you want, but figure it out, go ask for it. People want to help you, and this and this and this. So I went home that evening, checked my emails, it was about 11:30 at night, and I get this email. And this was on 8/1/07, so August the 1st of 2007. Tana, thank you so much for your speech last night. I went home and had a bit of a breakthrough because of what you said. I'm just not happy with a lot of aspects of my life. I feel like I have so much energy, so much life, so much sparkle to give the world, and my current job just doesn't do that for me. Yes, it pays the bills, sure, but it doesn't really give me the opportunity to shine like you said, and to be the best me I know I can be. So, I'm implementing one of your tips. I think it's tip number 2, I believe. Asking for what I want to work with you. I want to be mentored by you, learn from you. I feel like you have so many positive aspects that I would love to pick up on from my own life. The positivity, the thinking big, the honesty, and the realness that I've never seen in anyone before. Plus, you're super fun and someone that I think I could really enjoy being around. As far as my credentials, I have 5 years of solid project management experience on large-scale multi-million and multi-hundred-million-dollar projects. I have an MBA with a double emphasis in marketing and international business. I'm gay. Hey, that may not be a big deal, but 1, that means I'm never going to try to hit on you, which I really appreciate it. And 2, I can give you clothing advice, which I thought was cute, but I didn't need it. I can usually help out or travel on short notice. I don't have any children. Anyways, sorry if this email sounds weird. Okay, never apologize, but he did. Anyways, sorry if this email sounds weird, but I really took it to heart when you told me to go for what I want, so I'm going for it. And even if this doesn't work out, at least I know I tried. Jared. Well, Jared has been my business manager since 2008. So I got this in August 2007, and I'm not going to just give it to you because you asked for it. I made him earn it. So I give him a little suggestion, or I give him a little test, like I gave you guys a test. Hey, okay, you want to come aboard the Tana team? Well, let me tell you what. I need to get to LA. I'm going to be speaking to Johnson & Johnson. I need you to book my flights, get my hotel rooms, make sure that the contract is all there, get the deposit. Whoa, okay, wait, what? He did it all. Boom. So I was like, wow, he can handle more. All right, now I'm going to go to Las Vegas. I'm going to speak to 5,000 people. I'm going to need an assistant. I'm going to need you to help me with my book signing table. Here's how we do it. Anybody that comes to the table, I don't care if I'm there for 3 hours. You put on a smile. You be part of the Tana team. We're very positive. We're uplifting. No question is too stupid. We'll take 1 million selfies. This is the game. Are you in? Yes. So I brought him to Vegas with me. 5,000 people. The line was literally 4 hours long. He never once looked at me like, okay, are we going to get a drink of water? Are we going to eat? Like, he knew the game, and he succeeded. So let's just say that the CEO has 1 chance for 1 job, and this person could be his next right-hand man or could be the next chief of staff. Is that going to be you? Are you going to be Jared? Because I needed someone, and this email came, and he delivered, and he has worked for me for, now I guess it's 9 years, 10 years. Phenomenal, best decision I ever made from an email. Why? Tip number 2, he went for it. So what I hope to leave you guys all with today is the world is your oyster. Go out and get it. Do not ever water down your flavor for anyone at any point, any time. I thank you so very much for having me. I once again want to thank Deanne and Adam and Brady for bringing me in to share with you everything that I've learned, and hope that you guys can go out and make your lives unforgettable. And I'll be here for lunch. So thanks. Have a good one.